Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to getting up to speed. Today we're really diving into something foundational for anyone in tech, really. It's about the essential groundwork you need before tackling those big, complex frameworks that everyone seems to be using. Yeah, and our source for this is an article we found over on daily.dev. It's called 10 JavaScript Concepts You Must Master Before Learning React. The author is Abhishek Shrivastav. Now, you got to appreciate this bit. The publication date listed is May 19, 5:30. Yes, 5:30. And Abhishek apparently joined the site on October 18, 2024. So maybe time travel's involved. Let's just, file that under internet quirks. But anyway, the mission today is to unpack why a list like this is so valuable for learners. What does it really tell us about learning effectively, maybe less painfully in tech?
It's a great place to start, absolutely. An article like this, focusing on fundamentals, it immediately tells you it's probably worth paying attention to. I mean, in this field, you're just bombarded with new tools, new libraries all the time. Information overload is real. So having something curated, a list of must-knows, well, that's a huge help. It acts like a filter, doesn't it? Helps you cut through the noise, maybe avoid some common traps, and, actually build a solid base to learn from.
Okay, let's unpack that title itself. 10 JavaScript concepts you must master.
Yeah.
It's incredibly compelling, right? Especially if you're keen to learn React. It sounds like a roadmap, maybe even a shortcut. Why do you think a list promising 10 concepts you must master resonates so strongly? What's the psychological pull there for learners?
Well, I think what's really hitting home there is the promise of clarity. It's just overwhelming sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially in web development. There's so much to learn. So an article that says, look, here are the 10 essential things, that feels like a lifeline. It directly tackles a really common problem, a pitfall we see all the time. Developers, often really enthusiastic ones, they rush to learn the framework. They learn the React syntax, the hooks, whatever, but without really getting a solid grip on the JavaScript underneath. And that almost inevitably leads to frustration. Lots of inefficient problem solving, wasted hours debugging. You end up kind of papering over cracks instead of understanding why the crack appeared in the first place. It's not about memorizing React specifics initially. It's about building that strong foundation in the language itself.
That makes sense. It's such a common urge, isn't it? You want to see results, see your app working. But let's dig deeper. Why is that strong command of JavaScript itself so crucial for really getting good at React, not just, getting by? What difference does it make?
Yeah, if we connect that to the bigger picture, React isn't just written in JavaScript, it's deeply intertwined with it. It uses advanced JavaScript concepts all over the place.
Yeah.
Things like closures, understanding this keyword properly, asynchronous stuff like promises, asyncoate, powerful array methods. Knowing these isn't just like nice to have for cleaner code. No, it's fundamental. It's fundamental to understanding React's own concepts, the component lifecycle, how state really works, how data flows. Without that solid JavaScript base, debugging React becomes, well, honestly, it's often just guesswork. You might fix something, but you don't know why the fix worked. I've seen it countless times.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, developers chasing a React bug for ages, only to find out it was, a basic JavaScript scope issue or a misunderstanding of this. It's humbling. And beyond just fixing bugs, if you want to truly leverage React's power, maybe customize things, optimize performance, or even contribute back, you need that deep understanding. It makes you ask, like the article implies, is it really mastery of React if you don't grasp the language it's fundamentally built on? Probably not.
That's a really important distinction. Mastery versus just getting by. Okay, so we understand the why. Let's talk about the who. The author, Abhishek Shrivastav, is described as a full-stack web developer. What does that background tell us? How might that broad experience shape the advice he's giving?
That full stack perspective is actually quite significant here, I think. It means he's seen the whole picture. A full stack dev has dealt with the complexities on both ends, the front end the user sees, and the back end logic, the databases, the APIs. They understand the whole life cycle, how all the pieces fit together. So they're usually very aware of the common friction points, especially where a front end framework like React needs to interact with everything else. They know where things can break down, performance issues might creep in, how data flows end to end. So the 10 concepts he's likely picking, they probably aren't just academic exercises. They're almost certainly practical, battle-tested things, knowledge points that are crucial for building real-world apps, for making things maintainable, and for working effectively in a team. It's advice that likely comes from real experience, from the trenches. Adds a lot of credibility.
That makes sense. Practical, battle-tested wisdom. Okay, so this brings us to maybe the most useful part for you, the listener. We don't have Abhishek's exact list in front of us, but based on everything we've discussed, the importance of JS fundamentals for React. What kinds of concepts will we expect to see? What are the likely candidates for a must-master list?
Okay, yeah, let's speculate a bit. This is a good way to think about it for anyone learning.
Mm-hmm.
Based on how React works and what modern JS development involves, we can make some pretty educated guesses. First up, almost certainly, this keyword and context binding. It's notoriously tricky in JavaScript, right? Its value changes depending on how a function is called. In React, especially with older class components or when you pass methods around, getting this wrong means your functions won't work on the right component instance. Guaranteed headaches.
Uh-huh. Classic problem.
Next, closures. Functions remembering their surrounding state even when run elsewhere. This is core to how functional components in React manage state with hooks. It's how things like useState work under the hood, how data persists across renders. Trying to understand hooks without grasping closures, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, fundamental.
Then, asynchronous JavaScript.
Mm-hmm.
Promises, async-await.
Modern apps are constantly fetching data, right? Talking to APIs. You absolutely need to handle these asynchronous operations cleanly to manage loading states, errors, and keep the UI responsive. Without it, your app just feels broken or sluggish.
Definitely.
Array methods, things like map, filter, reduce. React is all about rendering lists of things, transforming data. These methods are way more declarative and readable than old-school for loops for manipulating arrays, which you do constantly when preparing data for rendering. They fit React style perfectly.
Right. You see map everywhere in JSX. Destructuring assignments for objects and arrays. This ES6 feature makes pulling data out of objects like props or arrays so much cleaner. Less boilerplate code, easier to read. Really important for handling props efficiently in React. The spread and rest operators, super versatile. Spread is crucial for immutability, making copies of state objects or arrays before updating them, which is a core React principle. And rest helps gather remaining props or function arguments. Very handy. ES6 modules, import-export. This is just how modern JavaScript projects, including React ones, are structured. You need to understand how to break your code into reusable pieces, manage dependencies. It's fundamental for any non-trivial application.
Absolutely basic structure now.
Hoisting and scope. Understanding how JavaScript declares variables and functions and the difference between global, function, and block scope, let const. This helps avoid those annoying variable is not defined errors and write more predictable code. Higher order functions. Functions that operate on other functions. This pattern is huge in functional programming and pops up a lot in React. Think reusable component logic, creating custom hooks, things like that. It's a powerful abstraction mechanism. And maybe lastly, a decent grasp of prototypal inheritance, or at least the class syntax that often hides it. Even though functional components are dominant now, understanding classes helps with older code bases and gives insight into how JavaScript objects work fundamentally. So yeah, each of these isn't just good JavaScript to know. They directly map to understanding and writing better React code.
Wow, that's a fantastic breakdown. Super practical. It really paints a clear picture of what underpins a framework like React. So I think our deep dive today really hammers home the point. If you want to succeed with complex tools like React, mastering those JavaScript fundamentals isn't optional. It's not a shortcut to skip them. It's about building that solid foundation first. That's what lets you really understand, adapt, and solve problems effectively.
Exactly. And articles like Abhishek Shrivastav's, even with the quirky day, they act as valuable guides, don't they? They help you focus your energy where it counts most. And I think understanding why these concepts are important, the context we've discussed, is almost as crucial as learning the syntax itself. It gives you the bigger picture.
Well said. So a final thought for you, the listener, as you navigate your own learning path. Whatever field you're in, what are those foundational concepts, those non-negotiables, that you think are essential to truly master before taking that next big leap? Something to ponder. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.